everybody. Hola, this is Paola Guthrie from Creating Purpose with Pao, and I welcome you to the Spanglish World Network and Heart Network on Zingo TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download Zingo TV app on the respective app stores. The app is totally free. You can find this app in Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. So welcome today. Thank you so much for being here. All of you, we have a special guest. We have Esther Thorne. She
Hi.
has 23 years of experience in the industry of coaching. So I welcome her, and I am grateful to have you here today, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here. Thank you.
So we're going to dive in really quick in this conversation of building relationships. And that's her specialty is
Yes.
relationships, right? Uh, Also with parents and teenagers, because she has lived it. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So let's dive into, the new school year is about to start. And I know for sure there is a few moms out there stressing because they don't know how to handle letting those babies go back to school, knowing that they might have some emotional, you know, I'm not going to say problems, but we know that before school ended, they were having some uh, emotional issues. Now they're going back. How can we help them ease that anxiety that they're experiencing right now?
So it's first to know that it's okay and it's normal. As once you know that that you're in the spectrum of knowing that whatever I'm feeling right now, and we're all feeling the same thing. We're all getting nervous. So that's perfectly fine. So you're not losing it, and it's okay. And I think the biggest thing is to have a conversation with your child to understand and know where they're at in school and not in school as well. To have the negative, even the positive, whatever they're feeling about, they're going into the new school year, whichever grade they are. What's there to look forward to? What are their aspirations? What are they excited about? Are they graduating? Or all these things are very important to discuss even before you go shopping for their school supplies, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think it's important also to have open conversations with them regarding peer pressure, bullying. I find that this is something so big, especially in these days. We also have a lot of cyber things that we didn't have back in the day. So we knew what was going on. It was child to child. Here it's on the internet. So what I would advise even the parents is to educate, really educate. And if you don't know, educate yourself first, and maybe even play a scenario with your son or daughter, what it looks like, what is okay, what is not okay, where are your boundaries, right?
Yes. That's a great advice. What does it look like for you this new school year? What uh what do you want out of this school year, right?
Right, right.
Well, when are you going to say no? You're crossing my boundary. That's very clever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and I also believe that it's so important to create a safe space for your child also to be able to know I can talk, because what happens is, especially and what I understand is that when bullying happens, they feel embarrassed. So they won't come and talk about it with anyone, right? And then before you know it, it starts to escalate. So what I would suggest is talk to your kids in a way, or have that communication with your kids besides bullying, everything else. They should have an open conversation. It's so important to have that open conversation with them about everything and anything, whatever it is that you want to talk about. So then they know that, oh, I can talk to mom about A, B, and C, right? So
Yes.
open conversation is very important.
Yes. And what about when, because this happened to a mom
Mhm.
that, this her daughter was being bullied at school. Thank goodness, school took care of it. But then her daughter will shut down. She would cry, and then she would not want to talk about it. And whenever mom would try to bring up the conversation to create a safe space, her daughter would shut down and would just, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. So how can we, plant those seeds for these beautiful children to begin to feel the trust?
So I kind of, when you say I'm fine, when a child tells you I'm not tired, boy, are they tired, right? Have you ever experienced that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when your child has a feeling to keep saying that they're fine, there's something going on. They're not okay. But what I would caution is don't push. Okay. Don't, you're not going if you're going to force it, you're going to get more pushback. You want to just give them the space, even if you need to just physical touch, a hug, just show them that you're there. What I also saw is that a lot of kids can express themselves if they're artistic. They can express themselves in painting. They can express themselves. So there's other ways to be able to express besides just talking, because sometimes it takes them time to process. It may even take time for them to understand what happened to them, what's going on. So, and what's important, you mentioned about the school, is for the parent to know, what are the schools doing about it? Are they in with you on that, right? Especially the teachers, right? Create a good communication with your teachers. Let the teachers know who you are, that you're a parent that's looking out for your daughter or son. So when there is an issue where you find something and your child doesn't want to talk, you're reaching out to somebody that will maybe explain or shed some light.
Yes. Teamwork, right? Create your team. Who does she trust?
That's
does
right.
she open up if she does not opening up to mom? Who could in the family or friends.
Someone, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and create a team. That's good. Another subject that I wanted to talk about is forgiveness, right? Sometimes whenever our kids react, sometimes we take it personal, right? Like we automatically take it personal and we react because we're not getting the results that we want. So as parents, we probably need to also breathe and let it go and understand that the child is hurt, because hurt people hurts, right?
Right, absolutely.
So sometimes that child might yell at you. Sometimes, they show you that they don't care that you care, but it's because hurt people hurt. So if we as parents begin to know, that if they're reacting that way, is because something is going on. And instead of reacting and taking it personal, like, oh, they don't trust me, I might not be a good parent, bring that forgiveness. And I was having a training today, and this mentor would say, he asked us, he's like, who are you when you're alone? What are those thoughts that you have when you're alone? And I think as parents, sometimes, like as a parent, I can say, man, sometimes I think like I'm not doing enough, and then we invite guilt to walk in.
Absolutely.
And this beautiful training helped me to understand, is like, okay, I have to learn to forgive myself so that I can forgive my child in that moment of, I don't want to talk to you right now, or, whenever they react, so that we create that peace, we create that trust. So what do you think?
No, I think that's really very important. And also you should actually show by example, model it for them. So when you lashed out, or if you did something, and it's okay to apologize to your child, say, look, you know what, maybe I overreacted, maybe I'm sorry, right? And when you show them that you can do it as an authority and as a mom, then it's easy for them to understand that, oh, mom is not just telling me to forgive and forgive, she's actually doing the same, right? So by modeling is so important. I find so much within my experience, everything that you tell the kids, you can talk to them until you're blue in the face. If you don't practice and you don't model it at home, and what I even found even more powerful, don't talk, just model, is more important than anything, because sometimes them watching you, and they're so keen. Trust me, these kids are so sharp and they're like sponges. They pick up on everything. So them watching you, the way you behave in certain situations, they'll emulate that. They'll follow that. They'll do that. So if they see that mom can be real and mom can actually apologize, then forgiveness for them will be easier as well.
Thank you for reminding us. We were having this conversation, you and I, about what we're going to talk on the show. You
Yeah,
said we need to be reminded because there's times
absolutely.
that we get trapped into our routine. Here goes our brain generalize, distorts, and deletes because it's just too much information. So our brain automatically does that. So we have to be reminded of this beautiful advice that you're sharing with us. So model it, yes, because
Yes,
every behavior is taught. We've seen it somewhere. We lived it somewhere.
absolutely, absolutely. And the truth is, we know a lot of it. It's just to become aware of it again is something big. It's something that you need to do. Absolutely.
Yes. And here we'll go back to, instead of reacting, responding
Right.
as parents, because there's times where it's like I catch myself where it's like I'm about to react and I'm like, just give me a minute. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Because I'm trying to, it's like I'm trying to regulate to align with the way I want to behave. So yeah, let's remember to respond and not to react.
Absolutely. And I think it's perfectly fine. With children, we're authorities, right? However, when they get to a certain age and older, we have to understand that respect, to show them respect, is very important. So as you have a relationship and you don't want to, it's always like when you answer, right? How you respond and where, right? Those are very important things. So with kids, what you can also is also relationship. So what you need to do is you can step away. You can say, look, right now I'm not ready to respond, or right now I'm not ready to answer, or right now I need some time to cool off. So then you kind of protecting both you and the child, and also showing, look, right now I need some space. I think that's important.
Yeah. And whenever they need the space, then then it's our turn to
Respect
give
that.
them that space,
Yes,
respect them.
yeah, yes. I think trust, respect, communicate, even though it sounds like I'm talking about a relationship with a husband and wife or with a significant other, believe it or not, it falls into any relationship, even with children in school with their peers, with parents and their children, and all over. It's a relationship. It doesn't matter what it is. And to teach it to them when they're younger so they know it well.
Here we go. Communicate. That's a big one. Communicate. I don't like the way you talk to me. Just communicate, or I'm proud of you. Just let
Right?
them know how wonderful they are. Sometimes
Absolutely.
we forget. We forget to truly let them know that, hey, you're doing an amazing job. I'm proud of you. Sometimes we think is expectation. They have to. But if we let them know how much we appreciate them, then they will flourish, even more.
I think it's another thing is that my kid knows that I love him. Come on, I mean, I'm the mom, right? Like, well, who else? I mean, of course. No, you need to say that, especially when they're in a certain age where they're teenagers. What happens to them is they basically trying to break through and get their own identity, but they need the security of the home. So there's a push and pull keep happening. So when there's that, then you have to know that, it's important for them to know that they can do that. It's more like, because what happens is that when they get their own identity, they don't know where they're going, right? And especially as a parent, you have responsibility also to show them, you know what, who you are and what you become an individual is important as who you are. You don't have to emulate or be anybody that, you know what I'm saying? It's more like a lot of what happens to children is they like, or teenagers especially, the peer pressure. I want to be like this, right? I want to be like him or whatever. But if you show that they have certain traits and certain things that they're so unique at, right? It's just so beautiful. I would tell my kids, when you go for fingerprints, right? Everybody has a fingerprint, but no fingerprint is the same. What does that mean? That there's no one like you. So there's something about you that's really special, and value that, right? So that's important.
Yes. And one of the things like that you're saying is like they're unique, is like you can be more. you don't have to be just like me. And here, I guess I'm being honest, but I grew up with that mentality, the progress mentality. You gotta be better than me. You gotta be better than me. But I guess, even if they don't want to be better than me, as long as they want to be good citizens, that now you make me think. Look at me.
Yeah. No, because we do. We have higher aspirations for our kids, right? We have high expectations. But if we show them where they're at and we give them, we show them that we're proud of them, we say how much we love them, how amazing they are. You don't know where they're. And
Yeah.
it's so important that a parent really knows whatever they have to understand, whatever you believe about your daughter or son is what they're going to turn out to be. So if you have something there in your psyche that, he's kind of a little bit slow, he's not good, you have to believe in them. And that's how you're going to see them thrive.
Yeah. That's awesome. And they're unique. Here we go back. Like, that's the main topic that I got from this last little bit, where it's like making them sure, letting them know that there's no one like them.
Right.
They are unique. They have their own talents. Yeah, and because they want to belong, so they try to imitate what the favorite cousin is doing, or what their favorite friend is doing, or what the popular kid is doing at school. But that might not be who they're meant to be. They're just following.
Or what pulls them, right? Or what pulls them.
Yeah.
This is how I'll explain it. To put someone in a box, right? It's like when you take a fish and you tell the fish to climb the tree, right? And the monkey to go in the water. They're going to fail, right? But are there failures? No. Why? Because they're not in the right place. The fish belongs in the water. The monkey belongs on the tree. And that's what we're doing, actually.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and paying attention on the environment. Here we go. That's the example you're giving us. What environment they are developing. Where are they at?
Yeah, it's us women and mom were given a very big responsibility, but the reward is beyond. So yes, it's a lot. Mom's happy, the home's happy. Mom's doing what everybody wants to. However, the reward is beyond. So it's yes, but it's not easy for sure.
It is a blessing. Yeah, we share the same thought about it. Yeah, it's challenging, but it has a big reward. Like, I love it. I really do. Okay, now that I said I love it, my oldest one, and I know you already went through this experience, is a senior. Like, it's about to graduate. So I am on that timeline of assuring I love him, and at the same time learning to let go. But sometimes I feel like maybe I let go too much, and then I go back in. So I'm trying to figure out what is the right pace of letting it go, letting him make his own decisions and things like that. What would you advise any parents out there that they're about to, they're about to experience their senior girl or boy to move on in life?
Yes, it's hard because you see them and they're flourishing and they're moving on and they're becoming their own. I have 5 kids and some are married. I'm a grandma. So I had some stages in life, and I understand that it can be nerve-wracking, and you're hoping that you did the right job and you don't know if you gave them enough to be able to, move on to the world out there. I remember I used to tell my kids, I trust you. I don't trust the world. I really, and that was, so in order for them to be able to go out there and you feeling comfortable, they have to have this really comfortable, secure upbringing to know that when they're out there, all that you taught them, it's very interesting is when you send your son away to a neighbor's house, right? And this son of yours really gives you not an easy time at home. And you send them, and then the neighbor comes back and says, what a sweetheart of a son you have. Oh, amazing. And you're looking, you're like, my son? This one? Nah. So what happens is what you've taught him, actually, he's actually behaving or implementing it outside. At home, he gets to be whoever he wants, and that's where his safe place. That's where he can express himself, right? So know that you did a good job, because this person is coming and telling you, what a great son you have. And you're looking and you're like, that doesn't match up with what he's doing here outside, right?
Yeah, I've been there. So I guess, we're doing a good job then.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
We're going to school. Go ahead.
The biggest thing I'll say, it takes patience. It's not like this. It really takes a lot of patience and a lot of consistency, and just pushing through it, and knowing that you can have a bad day, it's okay. You can have a good day, it's okay. I do want to say something, that when our kids are younger and we take them to, they want something and they're kicking and screaming and throwing a tantrum, right? And you say that they cannot have it. At the end, they just finish off saying, I hate you, mom, right? And this is important to know, because at a certain age, we're not going to take it personal. So, okay, I'm sorry that you hate me, but this is not good for you. And, that's how it is. However, when they get older, that's when it gets tricky, because you really still want that relationship, right? And when you hear that and you see that, so if they'll say that to you, you're going to take it sometimes personally. And that's where you need to step back and say, hey, I'm the authority when you were 2 years old. I'm still the authority. Yes, we can work things out, because, you're more of an adult. You have your own opinions. We can see how we can figure things out. But still, it's the same. You are the authority. And that's important to remember. And they'll push you for that. They'll push as much as they can. They'll push. Trust me.
I love that you share this, because they need to know their place. And as parents, we need to know our place as well. It's like, I am the mom.
That's
It's like, I am the mom. You are the child, or you're, and it's my responsibility to keep you safe.
I'm going to say that because my child, I'm 5 foot. My child is 6 foot. I'm like, whoa, I gave birth to you, but still, I am the mom. That's it. You have to remember that. It's very important to know that. And it's not, sometimes I would say, look, I don't demand respect from you for me. It's for you. Because if you know how to respect me, you'll know how to respect authority. If you don't respect me, there is no respect for anyone.
And especially if they're boys, then they'll respect who they married, right? The woman they're going to marry. So
absolutely. Yeah. Even it trickles even down to teachers, to principals, to job anywhere, right? It's just yeah.
What are we talking about? We're talking about parenting. We're talking about, kids are going back to school. Some parents might be stressing to send their kids back, because they know that they had an emotional issue before the year ended, and now they're sending them back. I mean, I can relate, especially if you're sending your kids to the high school, to the middle school, where there is more peer pressure, where they might, want to adopt a new habit that it doesn't go with your family values. So we're just having a parenting topic today, and we might, get into some questions for our teenagers, because I think they need some guidance as well. So just stay tuned, whoever, Walter Goodman asked that question. What would be the main component to build a relationship with our children?
I just saw that. Are you both parents? Well,
Yes.
I'm a mom and a grandma. And please feel free to ask me anything. I went through, in fact, when I went through the teenage years, I went through back to back, because I had 2 years apart. So I had 2 years, and then I had them adults as well. And I had them so it wasn't like I was, going through certain stages. I would have them all in one. And that wasn't easy, because when they come with teenagers, it changes from physical to emotional. So there's no more changing diapers. There's no more running after them. However, I would prefer this than the emotional part of it, because it's a lot harder. Absolutely. I'm sorry. You asked the question.
No, yes. Yeah. What are the main components, to build a good relationship with our kids, with our teens?
So for me, it was very interesting. I actually took interest in my kids' sports. So anything that they would talk about, I was totally involved. I was like, and I enjoyed it. The idea was actually to build their confidence and be involved in what they're doing. In fact, I remember I used to tell them, especially when it comes to not showing who they're hanging out with, right? I tell them, bring the friends home. Let's have a good time together, or drive you together, or take you somewhere together. It's just about, understanding that when they come home, who they're hanging out with, right? And it's not about judgment. It's more about you feeling comfortable and knowing. And then if not, then you can actually talk to them about it and see where they're at with their friends. But if you're going to ask them who you hung out with, they're not going to tell you. They're not. Like, why? What do you need to know, right? It's like, this is where they want to become independent. It's like, I can make my decisions, right? I can do this. So when they bring the friends home and you have a good time together with them, they're like, oh, you have a cool mom. Okay, we can do this. I have till today, my kids are older and they still remember me being involved, and oh yes, such a cool mom, and that's important for them. It gives them confidence. It makes them feel good.
Yeah, you give them the validation, right? That
Absolutely,
I matter, and
yeah, absolutely.
That's what they want to know, that they matter.
I also think it's important for them to understand that when they make a mistake, okay, it's okay to make the mistake, but there's consequences for it. That's it. It's you can't do something and not have a consequence for it. So taking ownership and responsibility for that is important.
Learning, right? Learning from it. What do we learn from this mistake? How can we do it better next time?
Yep. And chores in the house, those are responsibilities. Whatever is for their age, for their stage, allow them to do that. And this is something that's really also it's gonna show them that they're capable of doing certain things, and they have responsibilities. They have to finish it. They have to do it. So when they trickle out in life, when there's responsibilities, it's not strange. It's not something different for them. They get it.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, life skills as well, right? They add life skills whenever they move on. And now let's move on to our teenagers just for a little bit. How could we help our teens to see their true potential?
So I'll go back to the same thing, knowing that they're unique, not wanting to be like the others or friends. I think that's very important. And once they know that and they value that and they understand that, and then you actually you praise them for little things that they actually did, and you give them credit. And I think that one of the things is that sometimes they'll take on a goal or something that they want to do, and they see that they can't do it. They say, that's it, I'm doomed. But when you help them take little things at one shot and they see they can finish it and do it, and that's really going to build their self-esteem and self-confidence, very much so.
Yeah, celebrate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Celebrate their wins. And this is a big one at the high school. That's where I see it right now. Where they sometimes they want to belong, and they're willing to do other things in order to belong to a group of friends. Even though they have their potential to do better things, because they want to play safe. Sometimes they just want to keep their friends, and then they don't want to try. They don't want to try to be more.
Right. So I think for them to understand that what their strengths are, right? What are they good at, right? What's pushing them? What's their passion? It's then what's going to happen is they're actually going to connect and attract those kind of friends that have interest, right? And then they'll have that kind of conversation with them, and then, oh, you get me, I get you, and they'll be able to have that kind of conversation where they feel comfortable with one another. So even they'll want to try to do something different, but they'll see that there's others out there that are interested in what they're doing, when they feel that they don't have to be like someone else, right? So at home, if they feel valued and they feel that whatever they're doing is great and awesome, they go out there and they have so much strength to be able to do what they want to do and pursue their passion and continue with it.
Yes. And we can ask, here we go, asking questions. I can ask questions. What do you think your strengths are? just to help them open up to their true potential. What do you think you're good at?
You can explore with them. You can explore with them for sure, for sure. Like I realized, so it was funny because one of my kids came home with their school papers on the side, always with arts of like some kind of superhero or a knife or a this or a that. We're like, well, what's going on? You want to kill someone? Like we didn't get it, right? And then within the time, we realized he's actually an artist, and then he just taught himself how to just draw. And so we actually encouraged it and we helped him out with it. As a child, we saw something was, developing, and then we encouraged it for him. And then now he's doing without even going to school. Actually, this kid is brilliant. Without going to school and sending him to art school, he draws unbelievably, and he's artistic in everything. So he's a chef. He cooks. He does art with food. So this particular kid, is so this we have to know that not to put the kids into boxes. So each child has their own strength, and when you develop that strength, then they go out there knowing that they don't need to be like this one or that one. They have their strength. Like one of my children loved just to eat whatever you want. Just give her food and she'll be happy. That's all she wanted, right? So you know how to get around with them, especially when it came to times that you needed something from them, whether it was a chore or whether it was a talk to them or something, right? It was you knew how to get to their heart because you understood where they are, right? And they understood who they are and what talks to them. Like I would have one of my sons, it would be like maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and we'd hang out in the kitchen. And I'm there and he's just hanging out. I'm like, okay, let's have a conversation. And I would sit and actually have we used to call it DMC, which deep, meaningful conversations. So we used to sit and just talk. And there's no judgment, there's just talk. And they have a lot to say. And that's how we actually recharged, felt really good, and went out there. I didn't talk to him maybe for 2-3 weeks. We come back, we have again that kind of conversation. So that's important, especially for teenagers that need to express what's going on and what they're doing, for sure.
And you brought something up, and is that even if we have, 5 kids, like you have had 5 kids, I have 3.
5 kids, right.
They all might need that connection in a different way. One might like the meaningful connection. Another one might eat their food. Another one might be like, just take me shopping and we'll talk all you want.
That's right. Absolutely. Or one just needs lots of hugs and loves and kisses, and they're good and they're moving on and they're so happy.
Yeah.
Some need really deep conversations. They need to get into it with you and talk to you, and that's how they process it,
Yeah. Here goes. I think of the love languages that just have different, love language, and sometimes we try to treat them the same. And sometimes if we're doing that, then that could be a good advice to be like, oh, maybe, if I'm not having that connection with this child, it could be that I'm not talking the right language.
Right. Also comparing kids, right? So you have the first child of yours. Yay. I mean, she's a princess. She's great, whatever. And then you have the second child, and he's kind of left-handed. Everything is falling. He's not walking that soon. He's not talking that soon. And then you realize that you're actually comparing. When you stop comparing and actually giving the attention for both of them, you realize that they're both so beautiful. And what ended up happening with me was in particular was that the one that was the princess and the older, she kind of stopped and slowed down at a certain stage. And the other one just shot up and just became this amazing kid. So there's not to compare. Definitely not. We do this unconsciously. Definitely. We compare because as a first mom, as a first child, that's what you expect. You expect that kind of, because she was like, she lit up the world. She lit up the room. She did everything. And he wasn't doing that, I remember one time we were at someone's place, and he basically was admiring both kids. And he was telling me about the other child that I thought was like, wow, this kid is amazing. I'm like, this kid? I mean, did you see how everything drops, everything falls, he spills everything? He says, no, this child is really amazing. And then I realized actually that, you know what? You're comparing kids. What are you doing? So we do this unconsciously, but when we become aware of it, it's nice to see that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Our brain likes to compare, so we have to take charge when that happens. What would you advise a teen who is dealing with feelings that she might not feel seen, she might not feel accepted, she might feel unworthy? what could we tell her?
I think the important thing, believe it or not, is validating that feeling. It's very important. You can't say you shouldn't be feeling this way. You got A, B, C, and D. You have to really validate how she's feeling and allow her to see if she or he or to talk about it.
Okay.
I think also to understand, it depends if they're open to talk to you or not, but you can open up a conversation and see where they're at, where they're at in school or how they're doing, how they're feeling, who are their peers. By then you should have, like, I think what I believe the most important thing is bringing up the children is not at teenage years. It's actually, it starts way, way, way younger. And when you have that communication and when you have that respect and you have that unconditional love, which is so, so important. The unconditional love is important because they know, regardless of what they say, regardless what they do, mom or the parents are really going to love them. It doesn't matter. And that's when they actually have an easier time to open up. So they know they're not going to be judged. So when they feel this way, I mean, obviously if it gets real bad, you can seek professional help and to see how, depends what age they are, depends where they're at. However, I think if the home is a secure home, a happy home, and they're able to express that, the biggest thing is not to shut them down and validate how they're feeling. It's okay that you're feeling this way, and we can talk about it. I think one of the things I also feel is that, and this may or may not work, but just to feel grateful, just to practice gratitude, just to feel grateful for what you have. And not to say when this child is already all the way, not feeling, but when she feels that way, but she still has that, and you can practice gratitude with her. And it's proven that practicing gratitude and being grateful just lifts you up, and you can find different things inside that's actually happening. And
Yes, definitely. And one of the first things that come to my mind is that sometimes, because I had this conversation this last weekend, and I'm talking about a woman that is a doctor and she owns her own practice. She's a professional. She could retire within a few years, and she feels unworthy. I mean, so it could happen and at all ages.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking, wow, it's like someone that has a beautiful profession, a beautiful life, still feels like she's not enough at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. So it happens. And it could be a topic for a more detailed topic for later if you would like to come back, because I know we're running out of time and I know we have more questions, but I just wanted to bring that up to our beautiful audience, that it happens to it could happen to everyone, having that feeling of feeling unseen, not worthy, not enough. And we have to build that relationship that we have with ourselves, which is that psychology. What is those phrases that are rumbling in our head every day when we're alone?
I'll just mention just one thing about that. What you said is that the way this adult feels, right, wherever she's feeling, she's actually attracting those kind of people with her, right? So it's like if she feels unworthy, right, then that's how she feels, and that's what she's going to attract. So it's important to think about when you see your friends around you. You'll see what you're attracting and where you're at.
Okay. Yeah, we should have this conversation in more detail too. For the benefit of many out there, that there is times. And today in my training, it's like the bottom line was like, learn to forgive yourself, let go. Learn to forgive yourself if you're not on that financial level that you were hoping to be at this age, or if you're dealing with parenting issues and any other stuff that overweight. Is like, learn to forgive yourself, to let go, so that you can give the first few steps to a brighter future. But let's move on.
I just want to say that I think forgiveness is so much easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
much easier when you have to go inside of you and start finding out who you are and what you. It's yeah. I always say that to do some work inside of you. I rather lift a whole high rise of a building than just do one thing inside. So it's not easy. So you mentioned forgiveness. Yeah. However, it's very rewarding and very, you just feel so free. You just feel so amazing after that. Yeah.
Yeah. And wait, here we go. And one of the things that I learned is that we're humans. So we're going to be triggered by that thought. We're going to be triggered by, that whatever happened. And we have to, to learn to say, okay, I'll let it go. Every time it happens, because we're humans. So I was like, wow, that is clever. It's going to happen. And another technique I learned is like, oh, I already forgave them. Or, like, why is this thought popping up again? But reminding yourself, we forgave her. Already forgave him. It could be with our kids, like we might be heartbroken because they told us they don't love us.
Yeah.
And it might pop in our heads a few weeks later, and we have to be like, okay, just let it go. I already
Yeah.
forgave him. Let it go. And every time it popped up, like having the muscle to be like, okay, I let it go. Like I already forgave him. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, this is a deep topic. Forgiveness, uh,
Yes.
dealing
That's
with.
why that's why there's a honopono and there's a whole lot of things to, because it's really, and it's because it's so important as well, because it holds you back in life with so many things, all blessings and every forgiving is, I would compare it to almost like having a parachute and you're dragging it along. And once you forgive, it's snipped and you're just feeling free. And I've had that experience myself. So I have to say that forgiving is so important. And if you want one person out there that you feel like, okay, I forgave everybody, it's not about that. It's really going in inside and really understanding and knowing and feeling and forgiving. And that's when you're just like, yeah. It's like, I'm sure everybody heard this before, but free rent. You're just having free rent. You're just giving him free rent in your brain. It just stack. But it is because it's not allowing you to grow. So yes,
You're right. Yeah. So you need to kick them out.
you need to make no. So what you need to do is you need to make peace with it. Understand. I mean, there's so much techniques out there. There's timeline therapy. There's hypnosis. There's a lot of different things that are out there that can actually help you with that and really get rid of it. Not just say, I forgive, and then later on something comes up and triggers you again, because those triggers are showing you that you did not get rid of it. And even though you've worked, what I found a lot is sometimes I find that talk therapy is more like just keeping you above ground, just keeping you just able to get you out of bed and just move over for the next day. But it's not really digging deep. And I think that's important because then you can really let go and really strive, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I'm new into the whole hypnosis thing. I'm not very educated about it yet.
But it's not
Uh,
hypnosis. It's more like I think the timeline therapy works even better. If anyone is interested, that's something that really gets rid of the root of the problem. So who knows where there's like a gestalt of who knows of how many things that you need to forgive and what you need to do. When you get to the root of the problem, is when you let it go, and that's going to be feeling so amazing. I mean, really, it lightens up your person's face. It just gives them light. It just gives them everything. Yeah, it's they can see like, did you just get a facial? Says no, I just had the forgiveness thing.
I feel free. I
Yeah,
feel free. Yeah.
yes. I've had this experience with other people, so I know it's really true and it's great. So when you just said forgiveness, it triggered me in a way where no, it's not just forgiveness. Sometimes
Okay.
we feel like we've done so much work and there's still so much.
So
You still
much
have.
work to do. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm learning. I'm learning. Thanks
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sharing that. But yeah. Uh, so, uh, in your coaching practice, what are some of the most common challenges that you see in moms?
So first time moms is very big. First time mom, first to understand the transition, it's so big. It's an emotional thing and it's a physical thing. It's so much going on. And most of them I feel that so they'll call me up crying. And the first thing I'll say is, hey, guess what? When you were pregnant at those 9 months, your hormone levels went up to a certain level. It was so high up there. When you gave birth, the hormone levels dropped significantly. That alone will make you into a mess. That alone will trigger every little tiny thing will make you cry. So it's okay that you're feeling this way. First, to make sure that they understand that they're not crying because they're a mom. They're not crying. It's because something went on, right? And right now, besides the emotion part, which I'll get in, but part is first for them to know, right now my hormone levels really drop, and that's why every little tiny thing is triggering everything. The significant other, the spouse says something, and she would never even care about it. All of a sudden now she's blowing up, and now she's really upset, and now she's crying. She doesn't know why, right? So that's a big thing. That's one of the biggest things. Second thing is being a mom is very scary. It's like, I remember one of them were like, she was trying to nurse the baby, and she was really engorged, and she had a lot. And she was, he's starving. I'm not feeding him. He's not getting up. I'm going to have to put bottle. So this is another thing that, like, guilt is so big when it comes to the mothers, right? That it's like, am I doing enough? Am I giving enough? If they have to balance between, especially they have to balance between work and being a mom, like, where is the balance? How much do they, does my child remember me? Does my child love me? It's still, because they have to leave, right? So it's a lot. That's a big thing that they need to understand, that it's a transition where hormonal, it's a big deal. So your body goes through a lot of changes. Being a mom, the emotional part of being a mom. And it also kicks in of like, your mom, right? So all of a sudden now you're a mom, you're taking responsibility of being a mom. And what does that mean? Some people are not. I understand that some people say, okay, you're born nurturing, right? You're born to mom, but some people are not, and they need that guidance. And I'm really grateful because right now there's out there a lot of different help to help the parents, and they have questions, or am I doing the right job, or what should I do with this, or how should I do with that? So absolutely. Yes. It's such a big thing, and it's then, especially now when they have their second child, to have that and to be able to balance the two, and then have the significant that to help out, and there's a lot going on, and they really need to break it down, calm them down. And first thing for me to say, it's okay that you're feeling this way. It's so important to know it's okay that right now you're overly emotionally sad or crying. You're not losing your brain. You're not becoming depressed. Like, even though they have this postpartum, depression. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, you can figure that out if it gets really bad. However, in the beginning, it's not that. It's just normal.
We're gonna have to bring you sleep. Yeah, lack of sleep. Yes.
A lack of sleep can do that. Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna have to bring you back because time is up. Where can we find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Shane Coaching. Yeah, Shane Coaching, SHAIN, and then coaching. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, this was great because there's so much to talk about. This last subject was big. Yeah. But thank you so much. It was so fun. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you to a beautiful audience who was able to tune in and stay with us. You guys can watch the replay on my YouTube channel, Paola Guthrie. Remember that you are the only one that can give power to your talents. You're the only one that can give life to your beautiful dreams. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out SpanglishWorld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings to you all, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Yay.